About to let in a guy. If you can just let him know, I'm going to set up Facebook and stuff. Are you cool?
I'm saying it.
Yeah, because I'm trying to get the Facebook.
Hey, Chad, thanks for joining. Brandon's going to be with you in just a minute. He's just getting everything set up.
Right. All right, so should be getting live on Facebook here. Just give I'll wait another minute or two. Appreciate your patience, Chad. Then I'll jump in and I'll kind of start talking about stuff I will usually get into the just kind of high level stuff for people who might be joining calls who have no idea about like who we are, what we do or anything. And then we'll open it up to some FAQs. My initial thing usually just takes a few minutes to get into real quick. I'll just give it another minute or two, see if we have anybody else that needs to jump in. And then after that, we should be good to go. All right, we'll wait just a little bit more. All right. So cool. There, we got another person. Just one more minute here. See if we got any more people want to jump on the beginning of this. That way they get a quick little high level view of what we're doing. We are what we are. Oh, I think we might have lost Chad. It's okay. It looks, hopefully Mark's going to be able to hear us. It looks like he might just not have a microphone. So hopefully that's okay. So let's wait a few more minutes. Mark, hopefully you can hear me. There's a chat in Zoom if you don't know about it. It's kind of in the lower center if you're on a computer anyway. If you don't have a mic, it's totally cool. It will be a little harder for me to, well, it'll be impossible for me to hear you, but you can chat through there with questions and whatnot. I'm just going to wait just like in one more minute here, then I'll kick off and kind of just give everybody a high level view of like what the mortgage ecosystem is, what we do and all that stuff. Cool. I see a mic joining in or working for you, Mark, here. So I think with that being said, we are live on Facebook, it appears. So I will just jump in and start talking about like we are, what we do, all that stuff real quick. And then I'll open up the mic here for any type of questions anyone has. So if you guys are on Facebook or wherever seeing this, I do these pretty much every Wednesday. And you can get the Zoom link and join. There's no like registration or anything. Just that's at meetbrandonlive.com, www.meetbrandonlive.com. Take it right there. Just click a button. You can join. It's a little easier for us to get questions. If you are on Facebook watching this and have questions over there, you can put them into the chat. We'll try to watch those. It is a little better if I can open up your mic and like really get clear on your questions, but it's cool. Either way, we'll do our best. And if you're watching this and this has already happened, you can join on the next Wednesday. So anyway, I'm going to put my screen share on here real quick, and I'll just do a real quick highlight of some things. I think it's usually best for us to share our website just real briefly. If you've talked to us sometime in the recent past and don't know, we have updated a few things on November 1st. We actually changed a lot of it's mostly program names, but we also opened up a few new options that we didn't have before. So if you go to mortgagegrowthsystem.com, that's really where I'm at. If you keep scrolling down a little bit, the rest I'll leave up to you. You can all read all that stuff on your own. But if you go here, you'll see a grid and you actually see two different categories of programs. Hopefully this is clear enough for you guys to see. I'm going to try to zoom in just a little bit. So we have one category, it's done for you, and the other category is done with you. Within each of those categories, We actually have 3 different programs in those. And so as you can kind of see here, this chart explains like some of the things you would get or don't get with each of the different categories. And as far as like cost to participate goes, it is kind of right to left to a certain degree. So the 2 new programs that we've launched is Starter, and that's on our Done With You side, and Pro, which is on our Done For You side. But you may be wondering, what is Done For You and Done With You? So just a real brief high level, Done For You is very much like renting the system from us. It's the closest thing we would have to actually just like air quotes buying leads from us. We're a lead generator. We don't technically sell leads, we generate leads for you. So fine nuance, but it is quite important, especially when it comes to the way our marketing strategies work and compliance. So either way, so Done For You, back to that, that's where we do as much of this work and things we possibly can for you, anything that we can legally. It is essentially like a rent situation. You're renting the program, the systems, all that stuff with us. On the opposite side, Done With You, it is not do it yourself. Always want to be very clear about that. It is actually done with you. We're helping you, supporting you through the process, providing, as you can see here at the top, the systems and automations. We're building all that stuff. Now, the big difference here is you own all the assets. So you own a revenue generating machine yourself. And that means you don't have to keep paying us agency fees over and over. You don't have to go to lead sellers to buy leads from them like Zillow or wherever else you may go. And so you're set up for life with a system like that. So this whole grid kind of gives you a little bit of a detail, like I said, overview of what's available and not. So you can certainly look at that in your own time. But if you're out there thinking, man, that's a lot of options, I'm not really sure which ones are best. Actually, if you scroll down just a little bit further, we have this cool tool right here. It's, we say, what kind of loan officer are you? Find the option that suits you in a few seconds, you click that, and then you can self-identify here. And just click an option. And then when you do that, it will actually show you these are the programs we'd recommend, considering you said this, right? And so if you just click different ones, it will show you the different programs. And then if you'd like, you can always scroll back up and say, oh, okay, so he said that this tool said this one, this is what's included with that. So that's kind of high level there. I want to get over real quick into, the basics of how our system operates. So this is the Mortgage Growth System Explained. This is all accessible from our website. Let's take it real quick down to the bottom. If you go to how it works right here, that's how I got to this page. So anyway, the way we look at it, there's a couple different components. One is just the foundation. We operate with 3 pillars: creation of opportunities. So endless opportunities, as I put here, this is very much so leads, but also referrals. So our strategies absolutely play into referral strategies as well. We don't see this as just a leads only type system. Secondly, though, our systems and processes. So efficiency is key. Like for you to be successful at things, you have to be efficient, in my opinion, if you want to scale for sure. And so we're absolutely providing systems and processes and coaching people around that stuff, which kind of actually ties into the next thing, which is coaching and support. So we do a lot of coaching and support. And our approach is actually a little bit different than what you may expect. So I'll scroll down just a little bit here to that section where we highlight it. So we've been doing this. So a lot of people don't know this, but we've been doing this since 2016. We've generated over 1.5 million leads. We've helped people fund well over $2 billion in deals. We've worked with well over 2,000 loan officers. So that gives us a lot of insight and experience into what your situations are, what works, and it's all really data-based. It's not like speculation. We're not guessing at this point in time. We've done it enough times. We've proven it over and over. So what we want to do is give you a proactive coaching experience, try to spot the weaknesses, the flaws, the issues that you may have in your situation, your business, the way you're handling leads, so on and so forth, and try to get you, in alignment with what we know works, again, based on all these years of experience. We actually have up to 6 coaching calls every single week. Some of them are different topics, but that way we're making sure you're getting the highest level help and support. Those happen on Zoom. We control your computer on those calls. We do everything we possibly can to make sure that you're successful with our system. So again, our system is definitely way beyond just leads. It's referrals, it's systems, processes, and coaching. And if you want to visit this page, you can kind of look at some of this stuff a little bit more. Some people ask us about appointment setters. Yep, we have those. That is an in-house team. This is an optional add-on that people can put with any of the programs. So it doesn't matter which of the 6 programs you're in, they are available. to help you, be more efficient and basically book more calls with your leads, and whether it's leads that that have come from our system or some other source. So real quick, though, I will dive in. A lot of people are wondering, well, how does the lead gen process work? Well, essentially, we advertise on all the Meta platforms. So if you don't know, Facebook changed their name to Meta about a year and a half ago. So that includes Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, and they have a few others. Actually, a lot of people don't know that. But of course, the two main drivers of their platforms, Facebook and Instagram, for sure. So anyway, after someone sees an ad, if you've ever seen an ad on either of those platforms, you probably know you can click it usually, and then it's going to take you over to some other location, right, to fill something out. And that's exactly what we do, right? So they go to a landing page that we build, ran to you. We get a lot of questions about that. Like, so this is not like some sort of generic page. This is your page. This would be your page, and doesn't matter what program you're in. This is going to highlight you or your company, so people know about all this. So that's the landing page, the Facebook page. All of that is you. We're invisible in the background. I want to be very clear about that. So then what we do is we have them complete a long form questionnaire. And so it's essentially kind of like a mini application. It is customizable if you need it to be, but in general, it's pretty much already the standard one that we create is exactly what most people need to have a pretty clear picture of what that lead is looking to do, what they're capable of qualifying for, so on and so forth. If they become a lead and they are determined as being qualified based on the automations, these are all customizable to you as well. So you can determine what qualified lead looks like. We give them the option to book a call as soon as they become a lead. So they fill out the form, boom, here's a calendar option to book a call with you. And then after that, based on some of those criteria I just talked about, the leads are going to get sent into the CRM, but it is going to be, they're going to be automatically classified. Again, this is streamlining the process for you. And by classified, I mean either they're qualified or unqualified, essentially. And then obviously we want to be able to provide awesome systems. We have world-class automations. We get a lot of compliments from our clients about it. And it's not surprising because we're on our, who knows, 100th iteration of how these automations work. But either way, they do communicate with the leads by text, email, ringless voicemail, and video emails, you name it. You can call from the phone of the system as well. A lot of people ask questions about that. So I wanted to be clear about that. So that's kind of the stuff in a nutshell. I already kind of covered this. We do have additional FAQ questions if you were to get over here. And then I think one of the last things that I definitely want to touch upon, just because I never know who's out there in the world, is that we do also have non-QM side. So these are all the leads that we would generate for people that can offer non-QM products, or they specialize in that. All these leads on this side of the program, though, are, to be very clear, they're real estate investor leads. So they're looking for real estate investment products. This isn't non-QM stuff that is outside of that, like like some of that self-employed or I-10 necessarily. So it's all real estate investment leads that we're generating over here. And there's plenty of information on here, case studies, things of that nature. And I'm about to be done with this part of the video here. But I will mention, we do have a ton of case studies. If any of you want to ever watch them, there's probably way more here than you would ever want to watch, but these are all different video case studies, including our most recent one right here, showing people that, the fact is our strategies still are working even in this time where the market is going through a downturn. But anyway, I think that should pretty much encapsulate, the high level stuff of who we are and what we do. And at this point, I want to ask Mark here if you have some questions I can possibly address, and see if you've actually talked to somebody on our team yet, by the way, too. Hey, Mark, if you are wanting to ask a question, you'd want to unmute your mic. I don't have a way to do it. You have to self-unmute and be on the lower left. If you are on a computer, if you're on a phone, it should be pretty visible. Do you have any questions today, Mark?
I'm good, other than what is the vertical scale you can bring as far as quantity of leads, possible interested people?
Yeah, the sky's the limit, to be honest with you. So we do have people that acquire as many as like 100 leads per day. That would typically be a team that would, I mean, that should be obvious, I hope, a team that would handle that many leads. But yeah, there is really no limit to how many leads can be acquired. So it's just really the sky's the limit there. It depends on how many can you handle or how big your team is or things of that nature. Actually, while I'm addressing that question, maybe worth noting that like all the automations and systems that we put into play, we have plenty of large teams of anywhere from 2 up to, I think some of the largest might be 10. I think, no, we have bigger ones. I think it's 15, 16 people getting leads in the system. We can set it up so that it does round robin, which if some people don't know what that means, but that basically means an even distribution of leads across all team members. So if you have a team, we can absolutely accommodate them. And in fact, most of the people that we have on our Done For You program, they are usually teams of 2 or more. And that does not have to be the case. We absolutely have individuals on that side too, but lots of teams work with us for sure. So
what is your ability to be able to drill down on your actually getting the lead to be able to find people that are in situations where maybe they have an armed situation that's interest only, or maybe something going through the balloon that's about to pop soon? Are you able to dial in and find these exact people?
No, that would be more, and I know a lot of people are more accustomed to like direct mail stuff, right? You might buy a list where you're like, oh, these people have an interest rate this high, they have an arm, and so on and so forth. So that would be more of a direct mail type thing, which is cool, and I understand the value of doing that. But no, this wouldn't really work like that per se. So this is a little bit more generalized. Now, can we get very specific with our campaigns and the kind of things we do? Yes. Can we get so specific as to know exactly what somebody's exact current loan situation is? No, that's just really, it's not possible with any type of online advertising as far as I'm aware. And I'm pretty darn
so what factors will we know about these prospects ahead of time when we get a lead from them? What do we know about them as far as what have they seen and what is their interest? What is mentally, what do they think that they're looking for?
Yeah, well, it would really depend on the type of lead that you're going after and the type of campaign that we're creating based on the type of lead that you're going after, right? So if you're on the conventional side, we're at this point in time, really, it's home buyers that are converting. We're not really doing I'm not recommending any type of like refi stuff for the most part. Cash out, we can do those, but right now with the rates are not exactly in the best place for that. I realize that some people may say, oh, well, people still need money and things of that nature. That's all good and well, and I kind of understand that. But as far as the way what we do, it just kind of depends on A, does the market support what we're trying to do currently? And then B, it's all based on also like what kind of campaign are you trying to go after? So in many ways, it is a little bit more, it's definitely more general than what you're talking about, right? We're not saying, hey, if you have an arm, blah, 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 and it's about to, go up in rates, whatever, come and do this thing now. That would be way too specific. Now, if you were like, let's say non-QM in particular, are you on the conventional side or non-QM side? Let me just catch that from you.
We're focusing on a few different markets. So, the markets I mentioned a moment ago, I'll start working with people that may be free and clear, but obviously they're in the market. So
yeah,
we have a few different angles. Just obviously most important is finding out what you guys can facilitate to see if it's a match. And if so, how vertical can we go on that? But I heard your question about vertical. So just a matter to see what you're able to bring as far as gaps that we may have in the marketing.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. So, and there's a couple things there that you're not asking, but I'll tell you. So first off, I'll continue a little bit with what I was saying. One is like, let's say on the non-QM side, that's definitely a more versatile type of marketing, right? So when we do that over there, we have different product categories. And our non-QM brokers that we work with, some of them specialize in like only hard money. They want to do all the shorter term loans. Some of them are more focused on those longer 30-year type products for like rental properties and such. Some of them do both. Some of them have a mix of things. Some of them just want to do like refi over there, which is viable right now, by the way. On the non-QM side, it's definitely viable still over there. So the non-QM side, there is still very much so a gamut at this point in time where we just really take in, when we onboard a client, we figure out what do you do best, what do you specialize in, what can you do, what don't you want to do, what can't you do, and then we create very, very unique campaigns for them, just kind of based on the conventional side. Right now, the only thing I would really recommend for anybody is just your general home buyers, and I do talk about that a little bit on our main website page. We just created a little update about like what's working, what's not working with all that. But that's pretty much it. But yeah, as far as like what we're doing, it could never work the same way as like you buying a list and finding out, like I said, like, oh, this person's, has a 8% rate and we can get them a 5%. So let's send them a piece of mail. It wouldn't work like that. The strength, and this is where I'll get off topic a little bit so you understand this though, is if you happen to look at our non-QM page, I address this a lot more, is there's a strength in what we're doing is that we can take the unaware and turn them into aware. So we help people, basically, if that makes sense, is like, I don't know that, here's a good example. I'll give you a really good example. So in 2020, right, the rates suddenly started dropping and it was a big refi opportunity. It was like the cusp of the refi boom. So we saw that happening. We jumped on that and helped people fund a lot of stuff from it. And we took advantage of the fact that a lot of consumers weren't aware that the rates were going down at that point in time, that it would be beneficial for them to refinance. And this is especially where our strategies and the platforms we use, shine, because we're able to say, hey, homeowner, but you didn't know this. You can probably knock your home payment down by a couple $100 or save tens of thousands of dollars, so on and so forth. You know how refi works. So that's what we were able to do at that point in time, really capture a whole lot of people that probably just weren't aware. Instead of like Google or waiting for a piece of mail, like in Google, they have to search. They have to know that that's happening to even search, right? If you didn't know that that wasn't happening, you wouldn't search, you wouldn't think about it. If you got a piece of mail, maybe it would pique your interest. And that's somewhat where, like a direct mail campaign would, tie into what we're doing. Like, so if you had that data list and you mailed them a piece of mail that said, hey, we think you could probably save a couple $100 per month if you, refinance now. Cool. Wow. They may say, oh, that's cool. I'll give this person a call. And that's exactly what we're able to do with the ads, is kind of get in front of people that aren't necessarily aware of the solution. They may not even be aware of the problem. Right. So does that make sense? It's called awareness spectrum stuff.
Perfect. No, I appreciate that explanation. What is your typical ramp up period from the time that it's executed for a campaign till the leads can start to flow in?
Yeah. So I'll answer it this way. So if someone participates with us, there's a little bit of an onboarding process. On average, that's going to be about a week, is about how long it takes. We do only launch new people either on the 1st of the month or the 16th of the month. And since everything's custom built for each person, we do absolutely need that minimum of a week time. So let's just say, like, if you came on board today, we'd probably be getting a little bit too close to launch someone on the 16th, but their next launch date would be the 1st of December. Of course, we can't force anybody to onboard as quickly as we always would like them to. It is, depending on which program you are in, it does take a little bit of time to get that done. And then obviously most of the time involvement with getting somebody set up so they can launch would be on our side, building all the stuff on the back end. Now, as far as like lead flow goes, most people will start seeing leads within 24 to 48 hours after we actually turn on the ads. So it is a pretty quick thing. And then it does typically take about a week, 2 weeks, maybe up to 3 in some cases, before you're at max velocity and the leads are coming in at the rate that we would expect them to. So does that answer that question, or do you have anything?
That's perfect. And you have a liaison or a person assigned to the account while we're developing things? Is that how you work it, or is just anyone that's on your staff?
It's a little different. We basically have people within our team that specialize in different aspects of things. So when you work with us, basically the way that it works is like if you're emailing us or chatting through the system or using the phone system, we have a ticketing system that combines it all. We route it to whoever needs it to go to. So it's not something that you have to worry about, like who's my person that I go to. You have one phone number, one email, one chat thing, and you're good to go. And we figure out on the back end who needs to handle this request or whatever, if that makes any sense.
Perfect. I completely get it. Love it. That's all the questions I have right now. I know
Cool,
that
Mark.
we're going to have a meeting and confer, and obviously
Okay.
we're looking at different solutions. So we're just trying to see what is out there and have an opportunity to
Awesome.
explore many possibilities.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Dad. So have you had a preliminary conversation with someone on our team?
Yes.
Jake, maybe?
Jake is the one. Yes.
Okay, cool. I thought that might be the case. Cool. Yeah. So I'm glad that you jumped on here. Hopefully I've been able to provide a few more insights. Stick around. Who knows? Tim looks like is here. Well, he is here. I can see that much. He might have some questions that you may benefit from as well too. So hey, Tim.
Hey, how are you,
stick around.
Brandon?
Pretty good. Good
Good deal, man.
yourself? Thanks for jumping on here. What kind of questions might you have today?
Well, I have a number of them. I did speak to Jake, but I just kind of wanted to get a couple
Sure.
more answers if I could.
Yep.
As far as saturation now, do your ads go out? Are there certain localities that you focus on, or certain demographic that you focus on in a particular state, whether it's a county or it's a zip code? What is it? What's the thinking behind all that?
Yeah. So to a certain degree, that's really up to what you want, right? So I'll give you what is possible, and then I'll tell you kind of like what we would recommend. It also would depend on the type of lending you do too. So to be clear, the way you can target is you can basically target by like counties, right? So that could be the county you live in. You can target by entire states. You can target by multiple states, or you can kind of do a mix or combination, right? Maybe you want to target Iowa entirely, but then you also want to target this county in Ohio or something for some reason, right? So we can mix and match all that stuff. As far as like if you're on the conventional side of things, typically we recommend doing like your county and the surrounding counties, or you may have a few hot counties or whatever counties that make sense in your state that you know about, that you're like, well, I like this one because it's blah, blah, blah for whatever reason. And I like this one. I like this one. I like this one. And so, it could be all over the place. Could look like a spotted cow, right? You have a county here, you're doing a county here and a county here. And then, so hopefully that kind of answers that. But I would say also, one thing that we do know is like, you do still have to have a big enough audience. So usually if you're in a fairly decent, size state or metro area, covering a county or a general metro area is enough for this to work well. If you're on the non-QM side of things, we do typically recommend trying to do as many complete states as possible. I won't belabor that. A lot of people don't realize though that sometimes, like even if you're not licensed in certain states on the non-QM lending side, there's actually ways to do states you're not licensed in. But that's a whole nother story. But does that kind of give you an idea, or do you have more questions around that?
Yeah, it does. Is there add-on expense to okay?
Yeah, so we don't, unlike a lot of places, a lot of other agencies and places where you would buy leads from, where they're like, well, if you buy in this county, it's this much, and you're buying this county. Right. We don't do it like that. Yeah, so we just have basically flat service fees on the done for you side. On the done with you side, there's not really like a flat service fee or anything like that, because we're setting you up for life over there. But yeah, so it's up to you. You can pick things, you can change things. One day you just want to do this state. Next week, you may want to do this state and this state, so on and so forth. It doesn't matter to us. So we don't like charge like by territory or anything like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And speaking of the ads that you're doing now, how often do you update them? Do you tweak them for effectiveness? What goes into that?
Yeah, there's basically two aspects of like what we do with ads as far as like tweaking and updates and stuff goes. So one would be just our day-to-day optimization of ads. And this is really kind of maybe too technical of a thing to get super deep in, but basically we're looking at the data and we understand how to read the data inside the ad platforms. We can tell which things are working and not working, right? And so we're making adjustments like, oh, if this is not working, we want to cut this one out and so on and so forth. So we're doing all these types of things. If you're in our Done With You program, we do get a little bit more deep into that because yeah, at some point in time, you are going to touch your own ads and stuff. And so we definitely want to get you a little nerdy and geeky on that and understanding it. It's not super crazy complicated, but unless you kind of need step one and the foundation of like understanding how the ads work before you get into that. But then the other thing would be kind of like what I was talking about before, as the market changes, our ads will need to change too. And that could be, you know, just like even now, like purchase ads that we have now are going to be a little different. Like, you know, a year ago, the purchase ads, we were definitely highlighting, oh, rates are super low. It's a great time to buy, blah, blah, blah. Well, that'd be misleading if we were saying that stuff now, right? So our ads do also change based on the market conditions too. So those are the two ways. And then obviously the other thing is, I think we all expect another refi boom at some point in time. That may be another year or so away, but you know, when it hits, I'm sure we'll get back in heavy and hard on that stuff too. So yeah, does that kind of answer that question, or
yes?
did I leave some out?
No. Do we do the ad when we do the ad buys? Do we pay you or Facebook or Instagram or wherever we're going with it?
Yeah, so that would depend on which program you're in. So if you're on a Done For You, so that's where we're doing all this stuff. You're basically renting the program from us. You would pay us, but we're just paying Facebook, right? So we're just taking care of everything. So we do collect that up front, the ad spend part on Done For You. Done With You, that's where you would have your own ad account, business manager, all that stuff, and we're helping you with the process. Then you would pay them directly. So your card would be on file inside of your own ad account, and you would pay Facebook and Instagram directly. It's really one in the back end, just so you know, it's all one thing. On the front end, yeah, as a consumer, Facebook is separate from Instagram and so on and so forth. But
okay. And you have the hybrid program, right? So it's a kind of a mix with Done With You and Done For You. Could you explain that a little bit?
Yeah. We're not typically explaining it quite as a hybrid program anymore, but the truth is, that's what it is. So what it is essentially, it's just like our normal Done With You option. The only difference is for a quicker start. What we do is we manage the ads, set them up, do all that stuff for the first 3 months. Excuse me here. So what that basically does is, instead of like the other versions of the Done With You program, the next, after their systems are all ready to go, the next thing they need to do is go get the ads together. And those are copy and paste stuff. We provide all the content and all that. So it's pretty easy for them to do that. And then they launch that and they're ready to go. And then they start focusing on how to work leads, how to do all the stuff. You weren't here in the beginning of the call, but where we're talking about how we do all the coaching and making sure you understand pipeline management and all that. So then they move on to that phase. If you're on the hybrid program, which we call Plus, it's kind of a little bit backwards, right? Because we're dealing with the ad. You don't have to worry about that. We're managing them, optimizing them for the first 3 months. And all you're doing really at that point is getting used to working with leads, the CRM, pipeline management, sales techniques, things of that nature. So, but that's basically how it works. So you do get a very much so a Done For You experience with it, even though you technically own all this stuff, so that you don't have to keep paying us or really anyone else over and over again. Just pay Facebook, basically. So,
okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And then you have, you sort of have a community of people using the system where you can plug into and find out what's working for them, maybe some conversion techniques, things of that nature.
Yeah. And so actually, that's a good question. So our coaching calls are really what I call, it's one-on-one group calls. So what that means is that we have certain hours that we do it each week, like that same time every week. And so a lot of people will join on them, and then we'll help each person one-on-one. So everybody gets their one-on-one help. But by doing it this way, we can all kind of share and talk amongst ourselves. That means other loan officers will be sharing their tips or their struggles or whatever the case may be, so that all of us learn a little bit quicker, right? So that's primarily the way. Now, of course, you can absolutely connect with our other loan officers. We do have a Facebook group and stuff like that. But really, one of the best ways is on those coaching calls, because us can help at the same time as well. You see other questions from other loan officers or them chiming in on yours. Like, you may say, well, I tried this thing and it didn't work or whatever. And then another loan officer may say, well, actually, I'll tell you what I did that worked and it helped, So does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
So it is kind of a group. So it's not just all coming from us 100%. It is a mix between the people that we already work with and all that. So
My understanding is that we get a CRM with the package, right? And there's a third-party cost to maintain that monthly. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
yeah. So that's part of all your systems and stuff. Yep. Go ahead.
And now as a CRM, it doesn't have a lot of touch points. It sends out SMS, follows up, even with post-closing, let's just say, or the realtors we're trying to nurture, things like that.
Yeah. So yes, we have a ton. We have about 60 campaigns, and I know you missed the first part, and let me just maybe go to the screen share mode back, which it's fine. I appreciate you coming.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was late.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah. So after leads go in there, it does have, via its text, email, ringless voicemail. We already have 60 plus campaigns available for pretty much any situation you can imagine. And you can and should make phone calls from the CRM itself. And so the one campaign that we don't have is post-closing, because there's a good reason. Is some things are just a little bit too specific for each person for us to do something like that. Plus, what I find is that probably 80-90% of the loan officers we work with, they already have a post-closing something built into like their CRM, and that they use that, from work or whatever. And if you don't, like, creating campaigns is super easy. It's just there's some things that are just a little bit too customized for us to put in there, that it just wouldn't make sense. Be like, oh, this is blah, blah, blah. But tons of stuff, even stuff for nurturing realtors, even stuff for nurturing their leads that you have from other sources can be put into here, old leads, past leads. I mean, like we've got it all pretty much. There's just a couple things.
All right. And all right. And then how do you all feel about videos and making personal social media videos, that kind of thing?
I think they're great. I don't know if you noticed, I make quite a few. I have more than I have any idea that I have. There's so many. Been doing them for years. Yeah, I think they're good. I think you should absolutely do them if you have the time and you're comfortable enough on camera. You seem fine. You're on camera right now, so that's a good sign. Yeah, definitely. And then one of the tips that we recommend too is inside the CRM, you can record your own videos, right? So that's one thing that we don't do, because we're not you, right? We don't record you. We don't pretend to be you. But as part of the campaigns, we really do recommend people make a slight modification and add a video to at least one of the emails, so people can, basically put a face to a name. All right. Oh, this guy's a real guy. Seems cool. I like him. That type of thing. So, yep. Okay. Yeah. Video is good for sure. Yep.
Okay. All right. I think, Brandon, I appreciate your time. I told Jake I'd get back with him. I don't really have any more questions at this time. I'm trying to decide. Oh, by the way, I mean, I've seen, some of your competitors out there. I know one that's basically doing the same thing that you are. But they're called Legion of Loan Officers. And then there was another one that suggested to me, I did ask Jake this question, and I didn't write his answer down. But there's a company out there saying, no, you should go with Google Ads. Even though they're more expensive, you're going to get more high quality traffic. And I wanted to get your take on that.
Based on my experience, at least they're honest and telling you they're more expensive.
Yeah.
That part's definitely true. You may be surprised about how much more expensive they are, and that would be largely dependent upon like the markets and stuff you're in. I get a lot of questions on this. And so one of the things to take into consideration is that, like, there's some really big players in the Google space, right? You got your Rocket Mortgages and stuff like that. And then a lot of times the local market may have another person or two. So if someone's in there generating leads, and they have a super high budget, they're really going to kick your butt on Google. And that's one of the bad things about Google in comparison to Facebook. And Facebook, you have an equal playing field. The small guy can compete just as well as the big guy. On Google, it's not quite like that. It's the big fish will win and it'll eat the small fish kind of situation. Now, as far as the leads and stuff go, actually, we have this on our non-QM page. It actually applies regardless if you're non-QM or not. Let me pull that up because I'll show you one stat here that I think is important, because on this page, we do talk about it quite a bit, about Google versus that's really a lot what we talk about, right? Search versus in market. So if you were here at that part where I was talking about taking somebody who's unaware and turning them into aware, that's one thing that you just can't do with Google search for sure at all. It's really not possible. The second thing is that what a lot of people don't realize is that statistically, most people who are on Google, they're going to make 2 additional searches even after they found a suitable option the first time. So that means you're more likely to have a lead that becomes a lead for you over there, but then they go and become a lead for somebody else and somebody else. I always just kind of point out to people, like, if you think about when you search on Google, you might find you're like, I'm searching for this thing. I don't know what, a pair of shoes, whatever it is. You might be like, this is pretty cool. This looks like I need, but guess what? What do you probably do? If you're anything like me, like the average person, you go on and look at another search result, right? And so if people are in search mode, they are in search mode, right? They continue to search and search and search. So it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. Now, I know a lot of Google people will argue, well, this person searched, they weren't interrupted like with Facebook. Well, yeah, that's true. There is something to be said about, like, yeah, this person's searching right now for this thing, right? So, based on my experience, and we used to do a lot of Google stuff. We still do for our own ourselves. Like, we do have our own Google ads and all that. But I still find that we actually produce better results for ourselves from our interruption-based marketing. So that's Facebook and YouTube, which is similar in some ways to Facebook. And then as far as that goes too, is like the same thing. Like when people tell me their stats and stuff with Google, it's typically not any better. And then you've come to find out the lead costs more. So then it's definitely not better, in my opinion. And then I think, those are, I don't know. I mean, those are the key things. Like, in the ideal world, if you had like an infinite budget to use both, kind of like we do, right? We have ads on pretty much like all the major platforms, ads for ourselves anyway, on all the major platforms that, we have a bigger budget than the average, single loan officer or even small team has. So we're able to do that. So.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's about it, man. I really appreciate your time.
Cool.
Again, I'm sorry
Awesome.
I was late.
Hey, no worries. I appreciate you jumping on. Hopefully you got some questions answered for you. No other questions coming up?
No, I'm good. I'm good for now.
Okay. Awesome. Yep. Cool. Well, I'll check in then with, I think Lene, hopefully I'm saying this right. And if I'm not, correct me, please. But Lene, if you do have questions, feel free to unmute and I will chat with you and see what questions. I know you missed a lot of the good questions that we already had today, but that's okay. Lene, if you do want to chat, if you want to open your mic and ask questions, you would just unmute in the lower left if you're on a computer. And then if you're on a phone, it should be pretty obvious, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And if you don't have any questions, that's okay too.
Hey,
I don't have any specific questions. Sorry. I don't have any questions right this second, but.
I got a scoop, man. I got a scoop, but I appreciate it.
Thanks, Tim.
Okay.
I appreciate it too. All right, Lene. Well, yeah, you missed all the good stuff. You missed all the good questions.
I know.
Have you had a chance to talk to anybody on our team yet by chance?
No, I haven't. I might have to set up a separate call. I'm thinking.
Okay. Yeah. And while you're here, I'll give you just like have you been on our website by chance?
Yes, I was looking for it today.
Okay, so you may have seen a little bit. I was just gonna highlight a few things just in case, like it depends on how much you look down it. I'll just make sure you see a couple of things on here. So if you go to, this is the main landing page, you just go to mortgagegrowthsystem.com, this is where you'd end up. We just kind of give you some high level option, ideas about like what we're doing, about our different strategies, the different types of leads we can generate. Then we also talk about our different programs, which we have done for you and done with you. So we do have a whole lot of options. We've tried to create options for, just about any budget out there, as well. And some people, are aware that we have these options where you can, use our extended payment plans. Those start at $230 per month. I can always talk about those too, if you'd like. We also have this tool at the bottom that if you click this, you can kind of self-identify, like let's say right here, let's say I have a team and MLOs that need leads and training. If you click that, it will kind of recommend some of the different programs that might be a good fit for you. And then lastly, if you don't scroll all the way to the bottom, you might miss a lot of the different pages that we have on here. Our How It Works page is basically what we consider our demo page without requiring you to watch a video. So we kind of talk about our 3 foundations, which are really opportunities. That's online lead generation. I think that's most people, know that we do at least that. The second would be the processes and systems. So we want to automate and simplify things for you. So that largely has to do with the CRM, but a lot more stuff than that, to be honest with you. Coaching support. This is something that we do that's a lot of people don't quite understand and comprehend this. And also until you're using it, you'll probably never really see the value of it. And so we do a lot of coaching, and it's all based on years of experience working with a lot of clients, generating tons of leads, helping them fund a bunch of deals. And so it's a really, really cool part of our system. I know that once you're working with us, this becomes the highlight of what we're providing for you, even more so than all the other stuff, at least in my opinion. And then we have some appointment setters. That's an optional add-on if people want to have our in-house team calling leads to help book the calls for them. And then this page, we kind of work you through the lead flow, like the basics of the whole process around it. Did you by chance get to this page? Or do you,
I did, yeah,
it's
I was
cool
looking for this.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So that kind of gives you at least the high level. There's a lot, but I mean, like I said, if you go down here, there's a whole bunch of different little pages. We have, a not page. If you're into non-QM lending, we talk about that and our options over there. We have a page that talks about the $230 a month options that we have here. And I can always answer questions about that. And then our case study page, which is a link to a whole bunch of videos where we're interviewing, our clients about what their thoughts and experiences with the program and results and stuff. So that's my quick version of walking through the website. But yeah, I mean, if you have, interest at all, it's worth booking a call. Our sales team, they're not jerks. They're not hard people. They'll just give you information. Right. If you like the information and it makes sense to you, then, then cool, we can talk further about stuff. But if not, no hard feelings. We don't care. It's not a big deal. It's fit for some. It's not a fit for all. But now that I've said all this, did that spawn any other questions?
Well, I was curious, is this a whole another CRM system? Like it would be, because we have a CRM system.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah. But yeah, so my question is it a whole new system that we would be working with?
Yes. Yeah, it is. And part of the reason is it ties into, there's a handful of reasons. Actually, I probably should have taken you to our FAQ page.
I was on there. Yeah.
You were. Yeah. So we do talk a little bit about why. And so I know sometimes people are like, oh, I don't want another CRM system. Here's what I will explain is that unless you've done a lot of lead gen and that in like direct to consumer type marketing, you may not realize it, but most people do not have a CRM that's actually really suited for lead handling and all that. So it's good for pipeline management. It's good for, maintaining client relationships and moving somebody through the process of closing and all that. But I've never to this day seen anybody come to me and have an actual system that is built out to really convert brand new leads or even convert old leads very well. And so that's why we provide this system, partly so we can coach around it. But it's kind of like a good, like an example might be like, you have a truck and you have a sports car. These are both vehicles. They can both get you from here to there, but they definitely have different purposes, right? If you want to go and have fun and blast through the streets, your sports car. If you need to carry this big thing from the store to your house, it's the truck that you need, right? So they're that similar things, but very different purposes and use cases. And so that's one of the reasons why we do it. And then the other is that we set it all up. We can help modify it. We can teach around it. We can coach around it. We can show you exactly what to do, where you're going right, where you're going wrong with it. And if you use something other than that, we can't do that stuff. And that's where I was saying, like, the coaching part is really important about what we do. So we want to be able to look at it in a second and do a quick analysis and say, oh, this is where you did this wrong here, but let's help you. I'm going to train you on this. So that way, next time this happens, you know exactly what to do with the system. So we want to teach you to be efficient, and we can't really do that with a trillion different systems, right? So hopefully that makes sense as to why we do that, why we have a different CRM. Yeah. So,
yeah, absolutely.
it's a good question, though. Get it a lot, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, perfect.
So, yeah. Did you have any other questions coming up now that we're on a roll here?
Yeah. Well, okay. So how do exactly? Well, I am the personal assistant of Travis Lang, and he is the mortgage lender. So how exactly do we get the leads? How does that work?
Okay. Yeah. So this is probably where it is helpful for me to go back to the how it works page real quick, if you don't mind.
Okay.
And
I'll go over the website some more, but
yeah. Oh, it's all. I mean, honestly, if you booking a call sometimes can be the best way to get it all. But yeah, so as far as the way the lead gen process works, so we advertise on all the Meta platforms. So Facebook is now called Meta, if you're not familiar with that, but that basically means all the platforms they own more than these two, but these are the two popular ones. So Facebook and Instagram are the primary drivers. So we're doing ads, for you guys on there. People click on those ads. That's what, we're showing here. Then they'll go to a landing page that's branded to you. It's all set up for you. That's where a long form questionnaire is on, and then they fill that out. So they're answering a bunch of questions. So you have a pretty good idea about what their goals are, what their qualifications are, things of that nature. And then after that, once they fill that out, they'll have the opportunity to book a call with you automatically. And then at the same time, while they're, deciding whether they're going to book a call, at that point, the leads are going into the CRM. We do filter them automatically. So you have some categorization happening without you having to worry and figure that out yourself. We're letting the systems do that for you. And that's where the system is going to then, text, email, and do all kinds of stuff to help you communicate with them to, book the call, move the conversation forward, get an application and so on and so forth. So as far as that goes, I mean, the CRM itself does send you a bunch of notifications and things of that nature. These CRM is a phone app or a web application. So, you just log in by your browser. As many people as you need to have in that CRM can be in it at one time as well. And we could also set up for teams. So you can have a round robin set up where a bunch of different people are getting leads. Maybe it's just one person, maybe it's 10 people, whatever your situation is. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
I don't think I have any more questions. I'll just have to think about
that's
it
fine.
And talk to my boss.
Okay, awesome. You're doing the legwork on investigating at this point.
Yeah. And I run the CRM that we do have. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we have a lot of teams that do it that way. So you might be similar to like a lot of teams where, the loan officer obviously is the primary person, the person that may be invested in the program, whatever, and then they'll have an assistant or a junior LO or something running the CRM to working the leads, setting up, getting the appointments together, all that stuff. So that's very common. situation as well. And so, with teams like that, sometimes it's only the assistant that we're ever really talking with for the most part, and except for onboarding. As far as like the coaching and other teams, it's both of them, so it's really up to you. We're used to all of it. I mean, we worked with a lot of people, so I've seen every situation you could imagine practically. So
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, that would probably more so me than him.
Yeah.
So
I get it. Yeah, this is a very common one. So cool. Well, I appreciate you jumping on.
Yeah,
If you have
thank
any
you.
other questions, but otherwise, if you book a call if you want, and they can break down whatever questions you have. But if you want, it may be a good idea just to check out stuff on the website. You'll have better questions to ask. And then I do these every Wednesday too. So if next Wednesday comes around, you're like, I haven't booked a call yet, but I want to get some more questions answered. Cool. I'll be back on. I may not do the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. We'll see. I'll see how the week's looking at that point. But next week I will be back on for sure. 4:00
Okay.
Eastern.
Sounds good. Well, thank you very much.
All right. And did
We'll
I
be
get
in
your
touch.
name right?
You did, yes.
All
Not
right.
many people do. Good job.
Good. You got points. All
Yeah.
right. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
All right. You have a great one. See ya.
You too. Bye-bye.